Hello there, and welcome back to M. Price Can Read. As you may or may not know by now, I am indeed M. Price, and I can indeed read. And I recently read, I kid you not, like what I honestly felt at the time was like the greatest book I had ever read. It's Please Feel Bad I'm Dead by M. Price. No, just kidding. It's not. Because it's Please Feel Bad I'm Alive by M. Price. No, not. No, not that either. Sorry, I suck. But and I would show it here, but I'm a huge plebe and I read books from the library because, as you probably know, having fun's never hard when you have a library card. And what sucks about it is it was part of this anthology of this author's books, like 1,000-page anthology. And usually the library will just let you renew the book forever and ever, because if anyone, as long as no one else has a hold on it, like, why do they need it back? So it just auto renews, and this is like an 1,000-page thing, and it never renewed. And I was like, what the hell? And I look, and it has a hold on it. And my first thought was like, holy shit! I told my dad like a week ago that I was reading this book that was like the greatest book I've ever read. He better not have put a hold on it. And guess what? He did. And now he has the anthology I didn't even get to finish reading because I obey laws. I return library books when I'm told to return them. But joke's on him. I put a hold on it again. So now he has limited time to read it, and I can read it again. I can get it back. But the anthology is writings of the author Ursula Le Guin. And the book in question, honestly, God, probably the best book I've ever read. Maybe it's up there with Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. But the greatest book I've ever read is The Left Hand of Darkness. Holy jumping shit, like. And I was even thinking about how to even make this video. Maybe it's fine that I don't even have the book with me because there's no way to explain this book that will do it justice. Basically, the core of it is that it's about this sci-fi book, 1960s, 1970s sci-fi, and it's a sci-fi book about this like intergalactic envoy from Earth. From maybe he's not actually from Earth, is he? I don't think they mention Earth. They might. Who knows? But there's this sort of not globalized but universalized, galacticized coalition of planets. With all the humans are in it and maybe some other random life forms, and it's called the Ecumen, I think. And all these other planets are a part of this intergalactic alliance. And it's this guy's job as an envoy to go to new planets and to convince them to join the big alliance. And he's on this planet, and there's these other humanoids there, but what makes them different, what sets them apart from the regular Earth humans, is that they don't have any gender. Or to be more specific, they're both men and women at the same time. They transform, they change from men to women throughout their biological cycles. So at some points they're men, at some points they're women, and you may think, okay, so what's the plot of this? You're telling me that it's a book about this guy trying to convince these weird aliens to join this big alliance. How is that interesting? And that's the thing. That's what I wondered too when I initially heard about it, and I read it, and it is just so astoundingly realized, astoundingly executed. It's deeply profound and mentally stimulating. It's this idea that this guy is such a foreigner on this place, and he's really trying. Most of the book is about him just sort of observing this world and trying to wrap his head around this world and trying to interact with these people in a way that he can bring them into the fold of this, basically globalized union, and how it's such an uphill battle, and how he so much lacks the perspective to even understand these people and to even express himself to them. And it's so. I have never read a book that truly made me feel like I was a foreigner. Like that I was in somewhere so new and so strange and so beyond anything on Earth. You read a lot of sci-fi books, like you read John Carter, you could read Dune, you could read whatever, and some of them are really great. I'm not coming after them, I'm not bashing anyone by any means, but a lot of it will boil down to yeah, there's green people here, there's people with the funny antenna, there's people who are no matter how advanced their political, their religious, or whatever systems they have in place on in these other books, it always just kind of seems like the now I think generic, you know, um, yep, aliens doing alien things in an alien world. It's aliens. Don't think about it too hard. And this world is just so minutely and elegantly crafted that I don't think I can read any other sci-fi book again. I probably can. I'll just compare it to this. But it's a book where I empathize so much with the main character, so much with the way that she presents this book, that I truly felt like I was on this planet and I was also interacting with these people who I had no way to interact with. And the thoughts that this guy has, because it's first person, it's primarily through him. There's a few sections that aren't by his perspective. Um, it's just it's so visceral and so almost painful the way that his isolation is presented. And I really felt like I was on this world with him. I was stranded with him, and because at this point of the book, he's been there for 2 years, so he's really like one section that really got to me was he was talking about this guy who he's journeying with, and how it got really awkward because these beings are changing their genders and whatnot, and there's a section where he realized, oh my god, he changed into a her, and now I can tell that she's vaguely attracted to me and I'm vaguely attracted to her, and we're stranded out in the middle of nowhere, and we're both desperate and lonely and starving, and I don't know what to do with myself, and they have this really awkward tension between themselves. And then the main character remarks that despite the awkward tension he has right now, he realizes that he does in a weird way feel closer to this person as well as the other people on this planet than the people on his own, because he's like, well, I haven't seen a real woman for years at this point. I've only been with these gender changing androgynous creatures on this new planet. But at least with these new creatures, they're male half the time, so I can relate to them and I understand them half the time. But women, people who are women all the time, I'm really confused about them, and I really don't understand them. And it's just kind of like, obviously I cannot uh, I cannot summarize something like that into just a few sentences here on on YouTube. And it would help if I had the book with me, Dad. Um, but and I would buy a book, but I'm literally about to move, and I do not want to buy any more shit. So maybe afterwards. But it's just so vividly rendered that I could not pass up recommending it to you folk. But and I even thought about this too. Like, I don't even really want to review it that much. I don't even really want to go into detail on it, because I want you to just read it yourself, and just experience it yourself. So my review of The Left Hand of Darkness is that it's the greatest book I've probably ever read, and you should read it, and you should go back to this video and tell me what you thought. Unless you don't like it, because if you don't like it, I don't want to hear that you don't like it, because that's amazing. And if you don't like it, then you're wrong, No, you can have your own opinion. I'm not one of those assholes who, gatekeep stuff. Anyway, I hope this video finds you well. I hope Ursula Le Guin finds you well. And oh my god, I'm kind of pissed that it took me almost 30 years of my life to hear about this person. Because, wow, is she a tremendous author, and wow, can I not wait until I get that anthology back and I can read the rest of her work. Anyway, as you may or may not know, hopefully you know by now, I am Ed Price. I can indeed read. And if you can read too, you should read The Left Hand of Darkness. See you later. Maybe.